Alright guys, welcome back to Token Tech. I know it's been a little while since my last video, but I want to do this video talking yet again about the new Ryzen 3000 series and, well, in this video, if it's really worth upgrading. So, as you guys probably have seen and maybe even taken part in, there's this big debate about are the performance gains going to be enough on the new Ryzen 3000 processors to really warrant an upgrade if you already have a decent processor, or is it going to be enough of a performance increase to warrant the price increase? I shouldn't say increase, but the price deficit between it and the current gen or even older Ryzen processors. So here I have Micro Center. We'll take a look at a couple other stores, but I just want to show you real quick. We're here on Micro Center. I was just there today actually in person, and I love that store. I can spend hours in that store. 2200G for 80 bucks. Really good deal if you don't have a processor, you're making like a home theater PC. That's not what we're here to talk about. This right here is the deal I'm talking about. A Ryzen 5 1600, okay? And remember, the 1600, the first generation Ryzen 5 1600 6-core 12-thread CPU came with the Wraith Spire, not the Wraith Stealth, the Wraith Spire. No RGB, but still the bigger cooler with the copper core so that it has really decent cooling. You can use that with this CPU and overclock it to hit 3.9 gigahertz and get basically a 1600X performance, and that'll be plenty performance for most people, and it's 80 bucks. 80 bucks at Micro Center. Now, of course, you don't live near one, you can't take advantage of this deal. This is in-store only. However, if you do live somewhat close to one, I live about, let's say 30 minutes away from one, definitely worth picking one of these up if I didn't already have a decent CPU. Really cheap. And as you can see with this orange colored print, you get 30 bucks off a compatible motherboard. So you're going to save on the motherboard and get an $80 6-core CPU. That is insane. In my opinion, this is the deal to get. It doesn't matter how much better Ryzen 2000 or Ryzen 3000 is, because this is just so dang cheap. If you really don't have much money for a gaming system, you can use this and you'll have a great experience. This is really good. It's strong enough to even live stream while gaming. Although that's a whole other topic for a whole different video, but this right here is the deal. Look at this, a 1700X for 130 bucks. That should be able to hit 3.9 no problem, maybe even 4 gigahertz, maybe even 4.1 if you're really lucky. 130 bucks. This is the one to get. It's usually been better than the 1700, but about the same as the 1800X. So it's a really, really, really great processor, and again, $30 off a motherboard if you're building a whole new system. So you can see why some people might not be so willing to just jump on 3rd gen Ryzen when you can get such good processors for such good prices. This is really what it's all about. It's not just about performance, it's about that performance to dollar, performance to price ratio. That's where value comes in. And so this, in my opinion, is much better value than Ryzen 3000. Even though we haven't seen independent reviews yet, I guarantee you it's not going to be high enough to really justify spending all that money on a new processor when you can get one of these new in box. And the 1600, remember, comes with that Spire cooler, not Stealth, the Spire cooler. Really good cooler, really good CPU, and $30 off a motherboard. If you live near a Micro Center and you are waiting for Zen 3000 to make your decision, don't wait, just buy, because this is a better purchase overall. I don't think the price is going to come down any lower. This is already a very low price. $80 for the CPU is crazy. I really don't think it's going to come down any lower, and I don't think that the newer CPUs are going to be good enough to justify the price over something like this. Okay, so let's look at Amazon. So this is something that I think a lot more people use to buy computer parts. And look, a 2600, which is a better CPU than the 1600, a little bit better, 145 bucks. Not a bad price for this. Not as good as of a deal as 80 bucks. Definitely not as good as a deal as the 1600 for 80, but pretty good. This is a pretty good deal for a 2600. Very good CPU. 2700 for about 209. Again, a pretty good deal. That's about $100 off or so from the 2700 when it launched. So that's pretty good. Um, they have the 2200G for 86, so $6 over what Micro Center has if you want one of those. 2700X isn't a really good value here. I wouldn't get that here. But you can see how there are some pretty good deals here as well. The 1600 for 117. So maybe the price might drop on Amazon after Ryzen 3 comes out, or sorry, Ryzen 3000 comes out, because Micro Center always has those bargain basement deals on CPUs. Amazon 117, that's a bit more, right? That's like a good 20, 30 something dollars more, right? $37 more about. So I feel like this could drop a little bit further, but even that 117 for this CPU is so good. That's a pretty good price for this. I don't know if the because remember the 3600 is going to come out at $200. $200 versus 117. You know, that's nearly half off. Is it going to have double the performance or even 50% more performance? I kind of doubt it. But again, the real screaming deal is this, the $80 one. I don't know, these prices are pretty compelling in my opinion. We can also check Newegg if you prefer Newegg. So this is sold and shipped by Newegg, lowest price first. We have a 1200, right? Ryzen 3 1200 for 64. I mean, if you really need something, that'll do the job. The 2200G for 84. Again, around that $80 mark for the CPU. That's pretty good. And then we have the 1600 for about 120. A little bit higher than Amazon, but still in that same ballpark, right? Definitely a really, really good CPU for the price. Again, the best deal is Micro Center. If you live near Micro Center and you're looking at a 1600 or a 2600, go buy that $80 1600 at Micro Center. But again, like these prices really are not that high. They're pretty low. And with the price of Ryzen 3000, you know, the same pricing they had before, 200 for the 6 core, about 300 for the 8 core, a $400 8 core because it's going to have more performance, and a $500 12 core. You know, if you really need 12 cores, definitely that's worth it. For the 8 core, is it really going to be worth it over a $200 2700? I don't know, right? I think the $200 2700 takes the value lead. And the same thing for the $200 3600 6-core processor, or you can get an $80 6-core processor if you're near a Micro Center, or about $120 6-core processor if you are buying on Amazon or Newegg. That's a pretty decent chunk of savings, and especially when you're down in that bracket, if your budget is that tight for your CPU, $80 can make a pretty big difference. That's enough for you to get a better graphics card, right? Think about it. If you're looking for a graphics card, let's say you're looking at the RX 580. If you threw $80 on top of what you had, you could get a 1660, a 1660 Ti. Maybe if you looked around, you could get a a Vega 56. If you went used, you can get way better stuff than that. So, in my opinion, that makes a difference, especially in this price bracket. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is how people are losing their minds over the pricing of the motherboards for Ryzen 3000, or in other words, the X570 motherboards. Yes, they're going to be more expensive. Obviously, they're going to be more expensive. They are including a lot more than what came before. Mainly speaking, they're going to be including PCIe Generation 4 or PCIe 4. That's going to have a lot higher bandwidth, but in my opinion, it's not going to be that useful for the vast majority of users, right? Graphics cards are not going to take advantage of that. Most of us are using maybe one M.2 SSD, if even that, and Ryzen already has 4 lanes directly just for PCIe, M.2 slot SSDs and stuff. So it really, unless you're doing something crazy, in which case, yeah, you can pay. You'll definitely be able to pay for it because it's probably going to make you money in the long run. For most of us, we will be just fine with Well, let's take a look with these older motherboards. If we go over to Micro Center, again, if you live near one, not only will you get $30 off if you buy a compatible CPU like that $80 1600, which is a crazy value. These are B450 motherboards. I believe eventually we'll get to X470. Well, these are B350, B450. There's another page. We have some X470. All of these are very reasonably priced at around $100, some less, some a bit more. Definitely not too expensive, and it's compatible, right? You can either do a BIOS update, or some of them will come already with a BIOS update for the next generation of Ryzen CPUs, right? Ryzen 3000. In which case, the price isn't that crazy. It's not unlike the previous generation, right? Same thing on Amazon. You can get pretty good X470 motherboards, B450 motherboards. Don't get A320; those don't work for the new stuff. But anything B350, X370, B450, X470 should work with the new Ryzen 3000 CPUs. And so if you look at these prices, they're not crazy. Yeah, the new boards with all the new features that are cutting edge features, yeah, they are going to be like $200 and up, right? But if you're going for, a current generation motherboard, B450, X470, or even slightly older, you'll notice that they really aren't that bad in price. Some even have dropped in price, in which case makes it even better value. Just like with first gen and second gen Ryzen, you can still use these boards and get, the discounts, or I should say the discounts, but get the really good price to performance ratio that we've already seen. If you need those cutting edge features, which you cannot get on Intel, let me make that clear. PCIe Generation 4 is not available on Intel at the moment, meaning you are now leapfrogging Intel. You are getting a new feature that is not available anywhere else. Yes, you are going to pay for that luxury, for that privilege, right? But if you are fine, which 99% of us are fine, more than fine, with PCIe Gen 3, 1 or 2 or 3 in some cases, M.2 slots, 4 slots of memory and all that other stuff, right? All this good stuff with just a BIOS update, you can use these boards with third generation Ryzen or Ryzen 3000, right? Which means that the price to performance stays the same as all the other generations. And these people losing their head about X570 being so expensive really don't make sense to me. You're getting new features that are not available anywhere else. So yes, you're going to pay more for them, and it costs them more to make them. But if you don't have that money, if you don't want to spend $200 on a motherboard, you can easily get a really good motherboard for about $100 to $150 if you just go with a slightly older one. B450, X470, and even X370. All right. And again, most of us who might be upgrading already have a decent motherboard. Like I have the Crosshair 6 Hero X370 motherboard. I already did the BIOS update on it and everything. If I do plan on doing an upgrade, it's literally drop and play. So I don't know why people are losing their head about that. But that's going to be it for me, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share with your friends. And yeah, are you going to upgrade? Are you not going to upgrade? Are the deals just too good for first generation Ryzen? Even second gen Ryzen's pretty good. I would lean more towards just buying something cheaper and putting more money in a graphics card, or just saving that money for a future upgrade when we really see huge gains, right? But either way, just let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.